This is the story I never thought I'd tell, the story of how I lost everything I thought I wanted, only to realize it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I met Aaron back in college almost 8 years ago. I was majoring in finance. He was studying marketing. Aaron was charismatic, full of ideas, always dreaming bigger than reality could support. I was the steady one, the one who saved money, planned ahead, made life practical and safe. We joked that we balanced each other out, and for a long time I believed it. After graduation, things got real in ways I wasn't prepared for. I landed a stable job at a mid-size investment firm, not glamorous but solid. Aaron, though, he struggled. His first job fell apart within months. Then came a series of freelance gigs, temp positions, failed pitches. I didn't complain. I covered most of our rent so he could focus on building his portfolio. I'd come home from 12-hour workdays to find him stressed about a client ghosting him or a proposal falling through. I'd cook dinner, listen to him vent, remind him he was talented. "We've got this," I'd say. And for a while we did. I sacrificed quietly, turning down a promotion because it required relocating, skipping family trips to help him pay off debt, postponing buying a car so he could purchase the high-end laptop he insisted he needed. I wasn't keeping a tally. I believed in him, believed in us. We talked about marriage, kids someday, trading my promise ring for something real. I pictured a future built on teamwork and loyalty. But life doesn't always crack like a thunderbolt. Sometimes it fractures slowly, quietly, while you're too busy holding everything together to notice the fault lines. For me, that fracture began when Aaron reconnected with his ex-girlfriend, Mia Kingsley, through mutual friends on social media. He claimed it was innocent. "We're just catching up," he said. Whenever I saw her name lighting up his phone, Mia was the wild one from his high school days. Motorcycles, impulsive road trips, tattoos, drama. The kind of girl who made chaos look glamorous. Dumped him back then, but now she was single again, working nightlife gigs, surviving on adrenaline and questionable choices. It started small. Aaron would mention her casually. "Mia, so spontaneous. We should try something like that." Or he'd post throwback photos with her in group shots, captioning them with inside jokes that didn't include me. I brushed it off at first, because that's what steady people do. We give the benefit of the doubt until there's nothing left to give. But then the late nights started, the texts, he'd hide the giggles in the dark at 2 a.m., the excuses and vague plans. One morning while we were drinking coffee, I finally said it calmly. "Aaron, something feels off." He rolled his eyes, dismissive. "You're being paranoid. It's nostalgia live. But nostalgia doesn't smell like perfume that isn't yours. It doesn't taste like lies rehearsed too many times. It doesn't feel like your partner slipping away one secret at a time." I tried harder. I planned spontaneous dates, weekend getaways, little surprises. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was trying to be like the very thing he was chasing. But deep down, I felt it. My place in his life, shrinking me as growing. The real moment everything shattered came on a Friday night. I got off work early and picked up his favorite Thai takeout. I lit candles. I told myself this was the night we'd talk like adults and fix whatever was unraveling. Aaron walked in around 7, eyes glued to his phone, thumbs flying. No kiss, no hello, just a sigh. We sat at the kitchen table, food untouched. "Aaron, we need to talk about Mia," I said softly. He leaned back, arms crossed, a smirk spreading across his face. "Talk about what?" he asked. "That I'm seeing her again." My heart dropped so fast I felt it physically. "Seeing her," I repeated. "As in what exactly?" "Relax," he scoffed. "It's not cheating. Don't be dramatic. She gets me in ways you don't with you. It's routine work, builds structure. I want excitement. I want to feel alive." I stared at him, stunned. "We've built a life together. I've supported you through everything. And that's the problem." He snapped. "Your stability is suffocating. I need more." "Mia understands that." "Are you saying you're choosing her?" "I'm choosing me," he said. "And yeah, her too. I'm going over there tonight. We can figure out how to make this work. Maybe an open relationship. 8 years together reduced to a negotiation with betrayal right on the table." He grabbed his keys and left without looking back. I didn't chase him. I didn't scream or break down. I just sat there letting the truth settle like dust after an explosion. And somewhere between the candles burning out and my heart going numb, I realized something. If he could walk out that easily, he never deserved the version of me that stayed. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in the dark, replaying 8 years of loyalty sacrifice and blind hope. Every late night pep talk, every bill I covered, every promotion I turned down so Aaron wouldn't feel overshadowed. None of it mattered. It was like watching the life I built crumble in slow motion. And the most painful part was realizing he didn't value a single piece of it. By dawn, heartbreak had settled into something colder and sharper clarity. I walked through our apartment quietly, noticing things I'd ignored for years. His shoes by the door, the dead plant he promised he'd take care of. The stack of bills with my handwriting because I always handled the responsibilities he avoided. Even the takeout containers from last night felt symbolic. My effort laid out on the table untouched, forgotten. Then I saw my promise ring, the same ring he used to say he'd upgrade someday. It was sitting in a dusty dish by the window, exactly where he'd left it months ago, and never thought about again. That was when I understood the truth. I had been loving for 2, and he hadn't been loving at all. A message came from a mutual friend. "Hey, Mia, posted a story. They're together tonight." Looked close. I didn't respond. There was nothing to respond to. He'd already spelled it out last night with his smirk and his "I'm choosing me." I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to fight for someone who treated commitment like a burden. I needed dignity more than I needed answers. So I started packing, not in anger, not in chaos, calmly, like someone finally remembering their worth. Clothes folded neatly, books stacked with care, my toiletries gathered into a single bag. Every motion felt like a declaration. You don't get to keep pieces of me anymore. By noon, half my life was in boxes. By 1, everything that belonged to me was loaded in my car. I removed myself from our shared streaming accounts, logged out of joint memberships, changed passwords he'd once insisted on sharing. Maybe it was petty, maybe it was survival. Either way, it felt like taking my power back. At 1:47 p.m., I sat on the edge of the bed we once shared and typed the last words I would ever send him. Good luck with her. No speeches, no explanations, just truth. I blocked his number, blocked his social media, blocked every pathway he could use to crawl back into my life. Then I set my key on the kitchen counter, walked out, and closed the door on 8 years without looking back. I drove to my friend Dana's place. She opened the door before I even knocked twice and pulled me into a hug. "Stay as long as you need," she said. And for the first time in months, I felt safe. That night on her couch, the silence was heavy but not crushing. It felt like the first breath after being underwater too long, unsteady but freeing. The next morning, I did something I'd been avoiding for years. I called a therapist. When they asked what brought me in, I didn't say betrayal or heartbreak. I said I forgot who I was. I need help remembering. Weeks passed. Slowly, I stitched myself back together. I went running again. I cooked meals I actually liked. I read books instead of waiting for Aaron to decide what we watched. With each passing day, the version of me he had drained came back to life piece by piece. Mutual friends occasionally shared updates I didn't ask for. Aaron and Mia were inseparable. Road trips, parties, adventures, the kind of chaos he used to romanticize. I didn't chase the details. I didn't stalk. I didn't indulge the curiosity. I focused on healing, but life has a cruel sense of timing. Just when I stopped caring about his choices, the truth about Aaron and Mia began to surface. And the truth was coming for him hard, far harder than anything he had done to me. I didn't expect my life to rebuild so quickly. But sometimes losing the wrong person clears space you didn't realize you needed. 2 weeks after leaving Aaron, I got the promotion I'd passed on years earlier. Same company, different city, just an hour away, but it felt like another world. I packed up my things again, this time with excitement instead of heartbreak, and moved into a small, one-bedroom apartment overlooking a quiet park. It wasn't luxury, but it was mine. Every corner felt like a fresh start. Therapy helped more than I expected. I learned how much of myself I had given away without noticing, how I had been Aaron's emotional stabilizer, financial cushion, and life planner all at once, how I had confused sacrifice with partnership. My therapist said something that stuck with me. You weren't his partner, you were his safety net. For the first time, I believed it. Meanwhile, I built a routine that actually belonged to me. Morning runs, weekend hikes, books I'd been meaning to read for years. Quiet nights with candles and soft music instead of loud arguments or waiting for Aaron to come home. I even joined a small book club and started talking to people who didn't know me as the woman constantly compensating for her boyfriend's chaos. For the first time in a long time, I felt light. And then the updates about Aaron began trickling in. Not because I looked for them. People just talked. Mutual friends, old coworkers, acquaintances who still followed him online. At first, it was surface-level stuff. Aaron and Mia posting smiling photos together. Motorcycle rides parties, late nights, overly romantic captions that felt performative, even from a distance. But the crack showed fast. One friend mentioned that the event planning business they tried launching together had already tanked. They burned through savings in weeks, not months. Mia convinced Aaron to quit his last part-time marketing gig to focus on their brand. And he listened. Of course he listened. She sold him dreams. He always had a weakness for people who promised shortcuts. Another friend confided that Aaron's freelance clients were dropping him left and right because he kept missing deadlines. He blamed stress, burnout, the universe, anything except accountability. Then it got worse. Their fights went public. Loud arguments in bars, screaming matches on sidewalks, stories of Mia throwing his phone, Aaron yelling at her in front of her friends. The same excitement he accused me of lacking revealed itself for what it really was, instability he mistook for passion. The most painful updates weren't the dramatic ones. It was the small details, the ones that made the picture painfully clear. Aaron had tried shaping Mia into the stability he once relied on me for, expecting her to be the patient one, the supportive one, the one who handled practical things he didn't want to deal with. Except she didn't. She never would. She wasn't built for that. And he spiraled. 4 months after I left, I got a message from an old landlord from my previous city. I had sublet the apartment to a coworker after I moved, but technically the lease still had my name tied to it. He called to warn me that the rent had been late for 2 months, and Aaron had begged for extensions. Apparently, the new adventure he and Mia were building collapsed faster than either of them realized. Then the biggest twist hit. Mia cheated on him, not subtly, not emotionally outright, with a coworker from one of her nightlife jobs. She blamed him, called him boring, accused him of dragging her down word for word, the same things he once said to me. And then she did exactly what he had done to me. She packed her bags while Aaron was out trying to land a new gig, left a note on their kitchen counter, and vanished from his life. He came home to an empty room in silence. The karma was too clean to ignore. I didn't celebrate. I didn't smile. I didn't feel joy over his downfall. What I felt was clarity. The universe had a way of teaching lessons we refused to learn on our own. He had chased chaos. He had mocked stability. He had thrown away loyalty for thrill. And the thrill threw him away right back. After that, the updates grew quieter, sadder. People stopped checking on him. Friend groups shifted. He popped up less and less online. His flashy posts disappeared. His stories dried up. Even the people who used to defend him stopped mentioning his name. While he was unraveling, I was thriving. I earned a bonus at work for closing my first big deal. I bought the new car I had once postponed because he didn't want to feel left behind. I finally took the solo trip I had dreamed about for years. I realized something important. The life I built after him wasn't revenge. It was recovery. He was becoming the ghost of the life I left behind. And I wasn't looking back. But he was. And soon he would prove it in the most desperate ways imaginable. The first time Aaron tried to contact me, it was subtle. A text from an unknown number. "Hey, it's me. Can we talk?" I stared at it for 3 seconds before deleting it. No hesitation. No curiosity. Just a quiet certainty that nothing he could say would undo what he'd done. But someone like Aaron never stops at one attempt. A week later, another text. "I know I messed up. Please just hear me out. Deleted, blocked." Then came the voicemail. His voice cracked between sentences, trying to strike a balance between remorse and nostalgia. Liv, I'm sorry, things didn't work out. Mia was a mistake. I realize now what we had was real. You were good for me. Please just call me back. Just one conversation. I listened to it once, not because I wanted to, but because I needed to hear his voice one last time to confirm something I'd been feeling deep down. I no longer loved him, not even a little. So I deleted the voicemail and blocked the new number. But desperation makes people resourceful. Soon my social media DMs lit up with messages from accounts I didn't recognize. Liv, it's me. Please don't ignore me. Blocked. We need closure. Blocked. I'm sorry for everything. I'm getting therapy. I'm trying to fix myself. Just talk to me. Blocked. Then the guilt tripping started. You can't just disappear like that. After 8 years, you think that's fair. Blocked. Then anger. You're heartless. Cold. I should have known you'd move on like it meant nothing. You were never spontaneous enough for me anyway. Blocked. Then desperation again. Wait, no, I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. Please, please don't leave me like this. I'm struggling. Blocked. People like Aaron operate in cycles. Remorse, blame, insult, charm, repeat. But I had broken the pattern the moment I walked out the door. Unfortunately, he wasn't alone. His family chimed in next. His mother emailed me full of emotional manipulation, masked as concern. Olivia, honey, Aaron is depressed. He's made mistakes, but you leaving without a conversation shattered him. You owe him a chance to explain. I didn't respond. I simply forwarded the email to my spam folder. Then his sister called me out of the blue, her tone dripping judgment. You think you're better than him now. Aaron told us what happened. You just walked out like a coward. Family works through things. You owe him. I calmly replied, we're not family, and I don't owe him anything. Then hung up and blocked her too. The audacity was almost laughable. These were the same people who never once checked on me while I held Aaron's life together. But the worst attempt came next. Aaron showed up at my old office. Security called me. There's a man here asking for you. He seems upset. I took a slow breath. I don't work there anymore. Please escort him out. And that was that, or so I thought. But desperation never ends politely, it escalates. A few days later, I got an email notification from LinkedIn, one I hadn't expected. A message from him. Congratulations on the promotion. I always knew you'd succeed, and I helped you get there, didn't I? We built that life together. Don't forget that. Let's meet for coffee. I need to see you. The manipulation was so transparent, it almost made me laugh. He didn't help me succeed. He held me back. I succeeded after I left him. I didn't reply. He sent another message an hour later. I'm drowning. Liv lost my job. Mia destroyed me financially. I have debts. I don't have anyone. You were always the fixer. Help me fix this. And there it was, the truth behind all the apologies. Not love, not regret, need. He needed a lifeline, and he thought I would always be one. But I wasn't the same woman he left behind. His final message that day spiraled into rage. You think you're too good for me now. I hope your perfect little life falls apart. You'll regret ignoring me. I blocked him everywhere he could possibly reach me. And for the first time, his silence felt like peace. But peace never stays quiet for long. Not when the past still has one last attempt to claw its way back. The moment everything truly came to a head wasn't through a message. Not an email, not a voicemail. It happened face to face, unexpected, unavoidable. At a mutual friend's birthday party, and that was where everything finally cracked open. I almost didn't go. Jake, one of the few mutual friends who never chose sides, invited me to his birthday gathering. It'll be small, he promised. Just a few people, nothing dramatic. I hesitated because gatherings with mutual friends always carried one quiet risk: running into the past. But my life was different now, calmer, stronger. I wasn't hiding from anyone anymore. So I went. I wore a simple black dress, the kind that didn't scream for attention, but carried quiet confidence. My hair was loose, my mind steady. I even brought someone with me, not a boyfriend, just someone I'd gotten comfortable spending time with. A polite, warm man named Daniel I'd met at my book club. He wasn't a replacement. He wasn't a rebound. He was simply peaceful. The kind of peaceful Aaron never was. Jake greeted us with hugs and drinks. Music played softly. People laughed. The fire pit crackled outside. It felt normal light, like the life I'd wanted all along. For the first half hour, everything was perfect. Then I felt at the unmistakable prickle of eyes on me. I turned. Aaron. He stood across the room, thinner, drawn, his posture uncertain. His once confident smile was gone. His clothes looked rumpled, like he'd thrown them on without care. The years had not been kind to him, and not because of time, because of choices. And when he saw me, hair shining, laughing softly next to someone who actually listened, his face cracked with something raw and ugly. Regret, jealousy, and a desperation he tried and failed to hide. He crossed the room fast, almost too fast, muttering, "Excuse me," to people he nearly bumped into. Before I could step away, he cornered me near the snacks table. "Olivia," he breathed, like saying my name hurt. "Wow, you look good." "Hi, Aaron." My voice was calm, almost serene. "Hope you're doing okay." He winced at my neutrality. "So this is your new guy?" he asked, glancing at Daniel with a forced smile, too tight to be polite. "This is Daniel," I said evenly. "We're friends." Aaron let out a small laugh. Bitter relief twisted all at once. "Oh, friends? Got it. I thought maybe you'd moved on." His eyes scanned me from head to toe. "But you still look amazing. Really amazing." I didn't respond. He swallowed hard. "Listen, I know I've been trying to reach you. I know you've ignored me, but seeing you here, it hits different." He shifted nervously. "Things with Mia were bad, really bad. She was a disaster. She cheated, lied, emptied my savings. I lost everything, and I just—" He paused, looking at me with a raw desperation that almost made me step back. "Olivia, I'm sorry for all of it. I didn't appreciate what we had. I didn't see it until it was gone. You were good to me. You kept me steady. You believed in me when no one else did." I stayed silent. He continued. "I know I said awful things that night. I know I pushed you away, but I've changed. I'm in therapy now. I'm trying. Can we please just try again? Take it slow. Rebuild something. Anything." His eyes glistened with embarrassment. People were starting to glance our way. Whispers. The scene wasn't loud, but the tension was visible enough to draw attention. I took a slow breath. "Aaron?" "No." He blinked. "No. No," I repeated gently. "We had 8 years. You chose someone else. And you didn't just make a mistake. You made a statement. You told me I wasn't enough. You told me I held you back. You told me you wanted excitement, not me. That was Mia talking. She got in my head. I was stupid. You weren't stupid. I said you were honest. Cruel, but honest." He stared at me like I'd slapped him. "I'm not punishing you," I continued. "I'm just done. I built a life after you, a good one, a peaceful one, and I'm not losing it to rewind a story that already ended." His voice broke. "So that's it? After everything we've been through after 8 years?" "Yes," I said simply. "Because you didn't walk away from 8 years, Aaron. You walked away from me." The anger flashed first, quick, sharp, insecure. "You're really cold," he whispered. "You're different. You weren't like this before." "I wasn't allowed to be," I replied. Silence. Then his fear resurfaced, clawing at him. "Olivia, please, I'm begging you. Don't do this. You don't understand how bad things are for me." "I do understand," I said. "But your pain isn't my responsibility." He looked around, realizing people were watching. Daniel had subtly stepped closer, not interfering, just making sure I wasn't alone. That seemed to break something in Aaron. He shook his head, tears threatening, pride fracturing. "I can't believe this," he muttered. "You just turned into someone else." "No," I corrected softly. "I finally became myself." His face crumpled. "You'll regret this." "No," I said, turning toward Daniel, toward the fire pit, toward a world he no longer belonged to. "I won't." Aaron stayed frozen in place as I walked away. And for the first time in our entire history, he didn't chase me because he knew he couldn't. Not anymore. That night sealed everything. There would be no more calls, no more emails, no more desperate attempts. He faded from my life exactly the way I once faded from his. quietly, completely inevitably, and I didn't look back. Aaron didn't reach out again after that night at Jake's party. No more unknown numbers, no more burner accounts, no more guilt-soaked voicemails or angry rants or desperate pleas for just one chance. It was as if the confrontation had finally broken something inside him. The last thin thread of denial he'd been clinging to. He saw the truth in my eyes that night. The chapter was closed permanently, and I think deep down he finally understood there was nothing left to salvage. Life settled into a comfortable, steady rhythm after that. The kind of life I'd once dreamed of, but never believed I deserved. Work was fulfilling. My team trusted me. My boss valued me. And I found myself stepping into leadership roles I used to think were too much, because Aaron always needed me available, always needed support, always needed me small. Without him, I had room to grow. My apartment became a home. Warm lighting, soft blankets, plants that actually stayed alive because their caretaker finally had mental space. I cooked meals I enjoyed, set my own schedule, lit candles in the quiet evenings, and read books with no one interrupting to complain about boredom. Freedom felt like exhaling after years of breathing too shallow. Therapy helped me reconstruct pieces of myself I hadn't realized were missing. I learned how much of my identity had been shaped around managing someone else's chaos. How I had confused love with labor. How I'd been taught to hold everything together, even when it wasn't mine to hold. Piece by piece, I released that weight. I became lighter, clearer, stronger. When I ran in the mornings, I didn't feel like I was running from something, only towards something better. When I spent time with new friends, or with Daniel, or even by myself, there was no lingering dread that the peace would shatter. I trusted the quiet. I trusted myself. And maybe that was the greatest transformation of all. Months passed, and the memory of Aaron faded the way an old bruise does. Still faint if you press on it, but no longer painful in daily life. Mutual friends stopped mentioning him. His name stopped appearing on any feed or conversation. It was like he had drifted into a life so far from mine that our worlds would never collide again. I didn't hate him. I didn't love him. I didn't feel anything for him, really. He was a lesson, a past tense, a version of my life I had outgrown. One evening, nearly a year after the breakup, I sat on my balcony watching the sunset paint the sky in orange and gold. The park below buzzed softly with life, people walking dogs, kids, laughing couples, sharing quiet conversations. The world kept moving, and so had I. I thought about the girl I used to be, the one who stayed loyal while breaking her own heart, the one who believed stability was boring, the one who let someone else's chaos become her identity. She deserved better. And I finally gave it to her. That night I wrote a journal entry, just one sentence. Peace is the love story I always needed. And it was. I don't know where Aaron is now. I don't know who he ended up with. I don't know if he ever fixed the things inside him that he tried to place on my shoulders. But I know this. He's no longer part of my story, just the catalyst for the chapter in which I finally learned to choose myself.